I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Baldwin Park Planning Commission for October 23rd, 2019. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll? So sorry. Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Garrido, will you please lead us in the flag salute?
Please face the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
So sorry. Madam Secretary, will you please call roll?
Thank you, sir. Chair Pro Tem, before I continue, I'd like to acknowledge the vacancy of one seat on the dais. Christopher Sines.
Present.
Edwin Borges.
Here.
Edith Flores.
Present.
Christopher Garrido.
present.
Thank you.
So now we're going to move on to public communications. If anybody has anything to speak about other than what's on the agenda, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name. Seeing no interest, I now declare oral communications closed. Moving on to consent calendar. Item 1, action minutes from August 14th, 2019. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Consent calendar, item number 2, action minutes from August 28th, 2019. Motion to approve.
A motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Approved. Moving on to public hearing. Zoning Code Amendment number AZC 19-01, an amendment to the City of Baldwin Park Municipal Code, Chapter 127, Chapter 153, Table 153.050.020, Section 153.120, and Table 153.150.040 relating to commercial cannabis use, location, all industrial, commercial, IC, and industrial I, zoning designations, applicant distinct indulgence, case number AZC 19-01.
Excuse me, Chair Pro Tem, can I get clarification on the action minutes for the motion?
Yes, I made the motion, and it was seconded by Commissioner Garrido.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, Commissioners. Before you this evening is case number AZC 19-01, which is an amendment to the Baldwin Park Municipal Code, Chapters 127 and 153, related to commercial cannabis use. These amendments would affect properties within the industrial, commercial, and industrial zones, as these zones as these are the zones in which commercial cannabis is a permitted use with an approved development agreement. The applicant is Distinct Indulgence. On August 9th, 2017, the Planning Commission adopted Resolution PC 17-13, recommending the City Council approve and adopt an amendment to the city's zoning code, allowing commercial cannabis uses within the industrial, commercial, and industrial zones. The zones are reflected on the zoning map as the light and dark purple areas before you. On August 16th, 2017, the City Council approved the amendment to the zoning code to allow adult and medical cannabis cultivation, manufacturing, and distribution, and approved adding Chapter 127 to the Business Regulations, Title 6, which set the regulations for the cannabis permitted uses. There have been 2 subsequent amendments to increase the number of cannabis permits to the current maximum allowed, which is 25. The proposed amendments before you tonight are amendments to Chapters 127 of the Title 6 section, the Business Regulations section of the Baldwin Park Municipal Code, and amendments to the Zoning Code, which is Chapter 153 of Title 15 Land Use of the Baldwin Park Municipal Code. The applicant requested to amend Chapter 127 by allowing for an exception. While staff was reviewing the various sections of the municipal code in conjunction with the amendment application, there was an opportunity to revise chapters 127 further and also amend the zoning code for the purpose of providing clarity and consistency. Therefore, staff has included amendments to chapter 127 in addition to the requested modification, and also has included amendments to the zoning code. The applicant, Distinct Indulgence, has a fully operational commercial bakery at 5018 Lanty Street, which is located within the industrial zone. The applicant is interested in transitioning the bakery from producing non-cannabis baked goods to producing edible cannabis products. There would be no on-site extraction occurring on-site, and all ingredients containing cannabis would arrive at the facility already prepared to allow the cannabis ingredients to be added during the baking process in the same manner as non-cannabis ingredients. The facility is within 47 feet to a dwelling unit on 3 of the adjacent residentially zoned properties. Therefore, the code amendment application was submitted to reduce the required distance to a dwelling unit when a cannabis manufacturing site is limited to producing edible cannabis products with ingredients that are received already containing cannabis. If the amendment is approved, the applicant would then be able to apply for a cannabis permit. Considerations and criteria used to evaluate the application can be grouped into 4 main categories. What are the state requirements or guidelines? What is the current distance requirements, and what was the intent? And what is the common practice in land use regarding distance requirements to sensitive uses? And can the required findings be made? While the state sets distance and sensitive use restrictions for commercial cannabis premises to a school, daycare center, or youth center, it does not address distance restrictions to residential zones or uses. Therefore, the city is surpassing the state regulations by establishing a distance requirement to residential zones. In researching the city's distance requirements from commercial cannabis premises to residential zones, the intent was to provide a buffer between industrial and residential zones when they are adjacent to one another, and to ensure that operators were conducting their businesses safely. The proposed amendment would still accomplish the intent, as the buffer would still be maintained, and in conjunction with the exceptions are additional development standards that would increase operational safety at facilities producing edible cannabis products. Distance requirements between specific uses and sensitive uses is not uncommon in land use. Many jurisdictions have distance requirements or specific development standards for alcohol outlets, adult entertainment establishments, or other uses that may have impacts to surrounding neighborhoods. It's also common to have different distance requirements for uses that may be more impactful than others. For example, some jurisdictions have different distance requirements for liquor stores than restaurants that sell alcohol. Some even have distance requirements between liquor stores, but not for restaurants that sell alcohol. In the situation of cannabis, some jurisdictions set different distance requirements from different sensitive uses depending on the type of cannabis use. The proposed amendment would allow for an exception to the distance requirement from a commercial cannabis manufacturing site to residential zones for manufacturers that are limited their activity to producing edible cannabis products without on-site extraction. This will result in minimal operational change than a traditional non-cannabis commercial bakery, and no change in odor may be emitted from the facility. In considering an amendment to the zoning code, there are 4 mandatory findings. All findings were determined to be met as detailed in your staff report. Therefore, staff recommends that Resolution PC 1918, entitled A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park, recommending that the City Council amend the city's municipal code, Chapter 127 and Chapter 153, Table 153.050.020, Section 153.120, and Table 153.150.040 relating to commercial cannabis use. Thank you. The applicant's also here if you have any questions for staff or the applicant.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff by the commission?
Mr. Vice Chair, if I could make a comment to clarify the record. I just wanted to make sure that it was clear that there's no cannabis permit that's being issued today, and there's no location that's being approved today. Those things will occur in the future upon appropriate application.
If there are no questions of staff, I now declare the public hearing open. If there's anyone in the audience wishing to testify on this matter, either for or against, please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Sorry to keep you late this evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. Brett Engstrom here on behalf of Distinct Indulgence, which is a small family bakery currently in operation, been here since 2017, came over from the city of Glendale. They're very excited to be here, operating here. They've hired new people since coming to the city. About half of their employees are from the city of Baldwin Park. They're going to continue this great bakery operation, just adding a few additional ingredients. So they would love your support of this code amendment, and then hopefully we'll be back to see you later for the other permitting.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing no further interest, I now declare the public hearing closed. Commissioners, any questions, discussion? I move to adopt Resolution PC 1918, entitled "A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Baldwin Park, recommending that the City Council amend the City Municipal Code, Chapter 127 and Chapter 153, Table 1253.050.020, Section 153.120, and Table 153.150.040, relating to commercial cannabis use."
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to reports of officers.
There we go. Commissioner, I just wanted to let you know that we are scheduled to have a Planning Commission meeting on the 13th of November, which we provided a packet in the coming week.
Thank you. Are there any comments from the Commission? No further comments by the Commission. I will accept a motion for adjournment.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Aye.